Great to be here. The ride was different. Full disclosure, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I'm a city boy. I was telling Patrick on the way up here, I want a house right there on Front Street. When I look out the window, I want to see a Food Line and a CVS. But no, I'm glad to be here, guys. Before I speak, whenever I speak, I always give thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I do that first and foremost. The reason why I do it is because I really believe that Jesus is the reason why this is a blessed and prosperous land. He is the reason why this land is here, and He's the reason why this land is going to remain here. Amen. All these Satanists that are running across this nation right now, raging right now, they're raging because they know that God is raising up a regiment of people in this nation to save our freedoms. And the more patriots that join that regiment, the more you're going to see these Satanists rage. And that's exactly what they are. They're a bunch of satanic, pardon my French, they're a bunch of satanic bastards who are trying to destroy law and order in this nation, trying to destroy everything that is moral and decent and has made this nation great. They're trying to destroy it. Amen. And here it is. I've heard you all, we're talking about how to solve all these issues. There's one way we're going to solve these issues. One way. And it all boils down to one thing, and it sounds very simple, but here it is. Same way Americans always solve stuff. We stand up, we stick our chest out, and we're not afraid. Yeah. It's not going to get fixed if we remain afraid, and we remain afraid to speak up. We're afraid to lose our job. We're afraid to have somebody calling us a racist. We're afraid of policemen knocking on our doors. We need to think about what people did to get us where we are. You think the guys on Bunker Hill might have been a little scared? Just a little? We think about Bunker Hill, we think about it in terms of a history book, but those were real people who really did those things. Those were really farmers and blacksmiths and pastors that stood up on a hill facing the most powerful army on earth. And they really did it. You think the guys at Fredericksburg and Gettysburg, you think they might have been just a little bit afraid? You think? You think they might have been scared? Yes, sir. How about the guys at Iwo Jima, Battle of the Bulge? You think they were afraid? They were horrified. People at Khe Sanh and the people at Pork Chop Hill, even the Marines and soldiers and sailors now fighting the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Those people are terrified all the time. They don't know if they're coming home, and if they do come, they don't know if when they do come home, they're going to come home in one piece. But they do it. And they do it for us, and they've done it for us. Amen. And now it's our turn. It's our turn to stop being afraid and to stand up and fight for this nation and do what's right. And it's been time a long time ago. My older brother told me something one time that I firmly believe, and it's this. Sometimes when you're in the room, you just have to stand up and be the bad guy. You have to be that person that stands up and looks at everybody else and says, the rest of you people in here, you're full of shit. You're full of shit. And what you're saying is a bunch of crap. Because now it's time to stand up and tell one thing that we need to tell more than anything, which is the truth. We need to tell the truth. When I went down there to Greensboro, the city council, it was people down there saying all kind of matter of foolish stuff. They were down there talking about domestic violence, and people were talking about, this, that, and the other, and talking about, if you get a gun, it's banned in the house, and blah, 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 blah. All it took was one guy to stand up and tell the unmitigated truth. Look, there's a Second Amendment, and law-abiding citizens' Second Amendment rights should not be infringed. 200 million people have watched that video. Why? Because it was the truth. President Trump is the president right now. Why? Because he stands up and he tells the truth. People are hungry for truth in this nation right now. The problem is it's in short supply. Yes. And one of the places it's in the most short supply is in our elected officials. Our elected officials spend so much time dancing around the truth. I can't tell you how many times people have told me as a political candidate, told me, you shouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Don't say anything about that. You don't want to touch that. From where I was growing up, I don't know about y'all, but the way my mama raised me, when my mama saw a problem in the house, she was all over it.
Took care of it.
She took care of it. That's right. What Barney Fife used to say? She used to nip it in the bud. She was right on top of it. We don't do that anymore because we got a bunch of people pleasers in office. It's time to get rid of these people pleasers and put some people in office that's going to do something. I tell people all the time, I'm not running for lieutenant governor to go to Raleigh to make any friends. If by the end of my first term, everybody in Raleigh despises me, I'll probably be looking in the mirror going, well, my job here is done. Because I'm telling you, there's a lot of people in Raleigh that shouldn't like me. Because if there's one thing that's happened in this nation, in our state, all across this land, that is an absolute tragedy, two things. Number one, the people, the elected officials that we put into office to serve us are no longer servants. They're no longer servants. They have become rulers. They have become rulers who are there to only do two things: get rich and get reelected. That's all they're concerned about. And the most tragic thing that's happened in this country is that the people of this nation have abdicated their throne. Let me tell you what I mean by that. There's a quote that I love by an old Union soldier, that when his commanding officer asked him why he joined the Army and joined the fight for the Union, he told him, because I love this nation. And here's why I love this nation. Back in the old country, my father had to be beholden to a landlord or some rich man, just like his father was before him and his father was before him, because of where he came from, because of what his last name was. But he said, in this nation, every man is his own king. And the reason why every man is his own king in this nation is because we are the rightful rulers of this place. It is not the political class that we have created and put in Washington, D.C. and Raleigh and down at the school board. Those people don't run us. We do. Amen. We've got to take our crown back. The only way that we take our crown back is becoming serious about this political process. This is not a game anymore. See, a long time ago, the enemy was outside the gate. The enemy is inside the gate now. Not only inside the gate, they're in the command post. Amen. And it's not going to be easy getting them out. We certainly can't do it if we don't have a healthy dose of courage. Folks, this whole thing is serious. It is deadly serious. It's to the point where now I tell people all the time, for me, this is not about power, it's not about privilege, it's not about position. None of that matters as much to me as this. Being able to look my children and my grandchildren in the eye and tell them that I help preserve their freedom. Because somebody else did it to them. That's the message that we've got to get out to people.
That'll be a fight.
And is it gonna, that's right, is it gonna be easy? Absolutely not. Do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. But I have one of the answers, and the answer is this: cannot be afraid. I am not afraid. There are things that I am willing to say on public television that I know will get me demonized and might even get me killed. But I don't care, because somebody else laid down their life for my freedom. It's time for me now to be willing to lay down my life for the future freedom of this nation and this state. Amen. And we need people that are going to be willing to do that. It's time for these politicians that just want to just get along with everybody. It's over. President Trump has shown people the way. And as far as needing the media, as far as needing social media, needing them other things, I tell you what, I tell the same thing I tell everybody. Jesus Christ changed the whole world. He did it from the back of a donkey living with friends. He didn't need Facebook, he didn't need CNN, he didn't need 24-hour news. The only thing he needed to do was come and proclaim the truth. People will adhere to the truth, and they will adhere to courage, and they will follow it. And that's what we need to take into our communities. And that's what our elected officials need to start taking into positions they've been elected into. That's what we need to do. We need to stand up. We need to start being courageous. We need to start telling the truth. And that's what I intend to do if I'm elected lieutenant governor. Because like I said, I've been weary of this for decades. Somebody asked me about that speech in Greensboro. I told them that speech was the cultivation. It was 4 minutes of fury based on the cultivation of 40 years of absolute frustration over things that I had seen going wrong in this nation. It's time now for us to stand up as patriots in this nation and take this place back. Because I'm going to tell you what, if we don't do it, nobody will. We got to stand up and we got to do it. Thank you guys for having me here. We appreciate it. Thank you.